Yo, what is up, guys? We are back with a new what if, and this what if is Kakashi adapted Naruto. What if Kakashi adapted Naruto? Now, in this timeline, not at the timeline, but basically, I saw Six Mice's video, like, what if Kakashi raised Naruto? I was like, and he says every what if YouTuber has to do this. What if I was like, yo, I'm down, bro. Um, so basically, I'm doing this what if, and maybe I'll change it up. I won't take everything from him, or nor will I take any ideas from Anime Sage or any other people who have done this what if. Now into the what if. We start off when after the Nine Tails attack, uh, everyone was confused. Who's gonna take care of Naruto? And the Civilian Council wouldn't do it since they're obviously scared of the Nine Tails and they really like to represent their fear into hatred. And the clan heads couldn't do it because one clan head might start a coup. It's just not good for politics in the Leaf Village. And no other village that were related, to Minato and Kushina could. Like there wasn't any sisters, uncles, aunts, cousins, nothing. And there was only one person left, the person who was trained by Minato Namikaze himself. This person was Hatake Kakashi. Now, Kakashi, even like after since this timeline, not in this timeline, but he basically got sick of the Yambu, always killing and killing the same mission over and over. I wouldn't say it was boring, but he just says he needs a break from it. After this, Kakashi would volunteer to adopt Naruto himself, and that's exactly what happened. So for the next 4 years, Kakashi would raise Naruto from an infant all the way to a toddler and up. And he would start teaching him because around that age of 4 and 5, this is where you're supposed to teach them techniques and jutsus and how to use chakra. Now, basically, Kakashi would teach Naruto how to use his chakra in general. He would learn techniques like chakra practices, like how to he would put up weights on his shoulders and use chakra to try and keep them balanced since they were heavy, and then Naruto would actually have to do this wearing weights since Kakashi wouldn't go too hard on him, but he needs a challenge, something to work hard on. Naruto didn't actually master this until like a month later, where he could do it. And after this, Kakashi felt comfortable teaching Naruto the tree walking and the water walking, which would take him another 1 year. 1 year, yeah. So he'd be around 5 years old. Kakashi would also teach him the Shadow Clone Jutsu since Naruto is an Uzumaki and has Kurama. He would also be prone to be able to use more Shadow Clones and more Shadow Clones to train a little more. But Naruto could only use 5 Shadow Clones by the next year of the training, so it'd be around 6 years old. He'd be around 6 years old. And I'm gonna go a little slowly now, since I kind of just skipped like 2 years, like in 1 minute. So, one day, Kakashi would walk out and actually tell Naruto that, to try summon as many shadow clones as he can. Naruto would then summon around 6, uh, and Kakashi would tell him that, he should basically use those shadow clones to basically. Nah, I say basically too much. To use the shadow clones to do other things, like 2 shadow clones will read books, 2 shadow clones will practice taijutsu, and 2 shadow clones will practice a new jutsu he's teaching Naruto. And he and the 2 shadow clones will be practicing that. Naruto would be like, yeah, that's a cool idea. I wonder why don't other people do this? Kakashi would say that he's just the only one to do it since nobody has that much chakra to summon all these clones and keep them on doing other things. And you're the only person who can summon that many clones. After this, Naruto would nod, knowing that he's the first person to ever do something like this, or at least for now. Or not for now, but like all the other people who did basically died. Um, After this, Naruto would basically be taught, would be handed a paper by Kakashi. Um, Kakashi would say, just put your energy, I guess, or it's called chakra, but just try to put your as much energy as possible. Um, Naruto would focus as much energy or chakra as possible into this paper, and he would get three chakra natures. It would be wind, lightning, and earth. Naruto would be pretty excited, and yay! I got wind, lightning, and earth. Kakashi would be pretty surprised. Hey, you got three lightning. You got three chakra natures at 5. I think it was 5 or 6 years old. That's pretty impressive. No one has ever been able to do that except me. Since Hatake's usually have, for some reason, have 5 chakra natures. Uh, Naruto would Naruto would not, I guess, understanding. And after training a little bit with some lightning jutsu and earth jutsu, like Naruto would learn the mud wall and like the same jutsu that Kakashi used to win that little contest he did with Obito. Like he made it where he raised the wood up to like the midway and then caused it to shake. Um, I'll have to actually do some research on what that jutsu is called, but I definitely will find. You definitely will hear the jutsu name in the next what if parts, the part of the what if. Now after that day of training, the jutsus would pretty much dispel, and Naruto's head would start to throb before he would sort of pass out. Kakashi would kind of shake, like rub his head, rub the back of his head. He would laugh to himself, saying, "I guess that was too many shadow clones." But it is what it is. He then take Naruto to his bed, and where Naruto would basically just sleep there for the night until like the next day around noon ish, and he would basically do the same thing for the next year or two before the academy would start. Now when the academy would start, Kakashi would walk Naruto to the academy. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's Naruto's dad," since nobody knows he's actually like adopted. So everyone assumes he's like Naruto Hatake. Um, After this, Naruto would then wave before walking inside. Everyone else's parents would then say bye to their like kids before going on with their usual day to day events. Naruto would walk in, and immediately he sees some person with black hair getting jumped by girls. Uh, Naruto would be confused, but he would pretty much use the not the body flicker, but like a smaller version of body flicker to basically, like teleport the guy to the table, and everyone's like, "Yo, where is Sasuke-kun?" That's the name, Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke will rub the back of his head and say, "Yo, thanks," since the Uchiha massacre doesn't happen until like straight up today, or maybe like 2 weeks from that day. Um, Naruto will be like, "Nope, no problem." He would then sit down, and Sasuke would start to question him, like on who he was. Naruto would say, "Naruto Hatsuke." Um, Sasuke would say, "Oh, you mean like the son of Kakashi Hatsuke?" Um, yeah. Naruto would nod, saying, "Yeah." Um, Sasuke would say, "Yeah, my brother works with Kakashi, or used to work with him in the Anbu." Uh, and Naruto would say, "Ah, yeah, the Anbu." Some days, like the days there, or like he would remember the stories, or which Kakashi would tell him about his days in the Anbu. After this, everyone would be quiet when they hear Iruka telling them, to settle down, and he tell them about what's gonna happen in these 4 years, and basically give them an orientation. With basically, they would spend the first year, learning the history of Konoha, like Hashirama versus Madara and the two stunned faces, or they would learn about the second Okage and how he made this series of jutsus, which still impact the leaf to this day. We talk about the third Okage, who was the quote unquote god of, not the god of Shinobi, the professor of Shinobi. And he knows almost every jutsu in the book. And how he's, how after the incident of 12 years became third Okage again. they wouldn't actually be told what the incident was, but they just said an incident. And he says he's still Hokage to this day, and nobody knows who's gonna be the fifth Hokage. Uh, everyone would Naruto would be like, "I'm gonna be the fifth Hokage," even though he's kind of too young, but that's what he tells himself. Uh, After this, uh, Naruto and the rest of his classmates would be taken outside to do like an apprehension test to see where they progress so far, so they can actually see the start of the academy and the end of the academy to see how much they progressed in the academy itself. And Naruto would basically head outside, and they would do like they would actually see if they could do tree walking, water walking, but if they fail, it's fine. It's only the start of the academy. Naruto would be able to walk up the tree and walk on water basically easy, since they had like a river behind the forest, so they could just go try there. After this, everyone would be shocked that Naruto knows water walking or tree walking. That's supposed to be like a technique you learn like at least 2 years from now. But everyone would say that he's pretty much the prodigy, since Sasuke could only do tree walking, but not water walking, or at least like barely do tree walking. After this, they would say, "Do you guys know any elemental jutsus?" Like, just wondering. Sasuke would say he can do the fireball jutsu. Sasuke would run through a series of hand signs before shooting out a huge fireball. It's like fireball jutsu. After this, a huge ball of flame would then spit out of his mouth, sending it straight over the water, creating like a crater out of the trees. Everyone would be like, "Yes, Sasuke-kun," but then Naruto would basically uh, go through a series of hand signs before using lightning jutsu on the water, basically zapping it. And then he would do an earth style mud wall surrounding the water and closing it, making kind of like a wall around the whole river. And then he would basically make like a miniature waterfall out of the wall, like make an opening. And there what it was, like the lightning water would stream out, and it's kind of showing like a art with his jutsu. Everyone would be like so surprised at how Naruto could do this at such a young age, but and they call him the prodigy of the like academy. The the matches, like they would do obstacle courses. They see how fast you can run, and Naruto would be first place and Sasuke would be second. But when it came to the writing portion test, Shikamaru was number one, Naruto was second, and Sasuke was third. Now, in this timeline, I would actually like to say that Naruto's friendship with Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba and Shino were actually more strengthened. That's the word. Since in the canon, they only knew each other, like they were friends like only for a little, and they were like neutral towards him. They weren't like the other people were towards Naruto. So yeah, they'd be more friends in this timeline in their first year of the academy. So like after they finish school, they'd basically train like a little bit or go to the playground for like an hour or two. So yeah, I think that's pretty good development. After this, Naruto then spent the rest of his days after school training with Kakashi, since Kakashi only has to do like Anbu missions or missions just during when Naruto's at school. So after this, Naruto and Sasuke would pretty much be progressing towards the year, and they would have the second year where they would have the same apprehension test to see how they progressed throughout the year, and everyone would be a little slightly stronger. With the Uchiha massacre happening, Sasuke would train more, learning the fire style Phoenix Flower Jutsu, and more of the lion barrage taijutsu style. With Naruto learning a little more development into his earth style and lightning style, and since he thought he maybe should learn the wind style a little later on in his ninja career, um, since I mean Kakashi doesn't really know much of the wind style, it's like his weaker nature. If you guys don't know what nature chakra is, like just like the actually advanced version of chakra, I'll link a video to Swagkage, basically explaining uh, chakra itself, so you guys can get a more understanding on what chakra is. After this, back to the what if, where Naruto would be around 10 years old, the second year of the academy, and they do the same apprehension test, but Naruto would do something a little different. He would then make a wall and basically use his lightning to make little art on the mud wall, making like a whole making the whole Hokage face on the mud wall. Since on Kakashi's mud wall, there's like a dog's on there to show his summoning. So yeah. So after this, you could see all the Hokage faces there, including like it would be Hashirama Senju. Everyone would scream out. Then they'd say, "Oh, it's Tobirama Senju." Then they go to the point to the third. They say it's Hiruzen Sarutobi, or Lord Hokage. And then they'd go to the fourth. It says it's Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage. Everyone would be pretty excited, or like pretty excited that Naruto could do something like this. Not excited, but like really freaked out in a good way, like an excited way. They'd be like, "Whoa, that's so cool." Naruto would feel like a tinge of pride, but you'd erase it really quick. And Sasuke would straight up put his try his best. He would try to like use his fire jutsu, since that's where the Uchihas were good at. But it wouldn't work out, and they'd still have the same sparring match with Naruto just as my friend Six Meister would say, Molly whopping. I think that's what he said. Sasuke, uh, basically just folding him really fast. And after this, Naruto would straight up spend the next 2 years doing just that: the apprehension test, the training with Kakashi after school, and Sasuke would try to do the same, trying to match up to Naruto's power level, since he truly despises Naruto. He's so jealous of him, and he basically sees Naruto as the obstacle stopping him from killing his brother. So he truly does hate Naruto. After this, we time skip to the graduation exams, where Naruto would straight up ace the exams. Sasuke would do the same, and they'd have their spar with Naruto, like just like the four apprehension chest, would Molly Wop or Molly Mop, just basically mop Sasuke. Bro, he just mop, basically just mop the guy over. Okay, just folded. All right, folded just like my test after I refused to do it. Now, just kidding. But yeah, Naruto would be prodigy of the year, or yeah, he'd be the prodigy, the first, the number one student, or the ninja technically. Now he's a ninja of the graduating Konoha 12. Sasuke being second, Shikamaru being third, and yeah, that would be pretty much it. Um, Naruto would then head home, and basically Kakashi told them that there's been a change with the team selection process, and that there's actually a month of training. And he says if he wants to go out the village to get more of a handle on training, go to other villages to learn more jutsus. Naruto would say that he's actually down, and they'd actually head out the village, go into villages like the Sand Village, like for 1 week. So they go to the ninja, the four other ninja nations. Basically, Naruto going to the Sand Village, getting scrolls of the wind jutsus, and he'd actually learn a few there. Naruto then go to the Mist Village and get a katana, like kind of like it looks exactly like Sasuke, adult Sasuke's, and he'd basically be training swordsmanship, or not swordsmanship, how to like use a sword, being a sword user. But yeah, so he can maybe when Kakashi bought the katana for Naruto, he thinks he could teach Naruto a technique he can use with the katana, but he keeps that to himself. They then go to the Earth Nation, but they would have to use a transformation jutsu since they really don't like Konoha. Naruto would then learn a lot of mud jutsus there, and mud jutsus, Earth jutsus. My apologies for the butchering there. And then Naruto would head over to the lightning, or the lightning nation, or the cloud village. I mean, sorry about that. And he'd learn lightning jutsus, and he'd actually meet Yugito and B, and they'd tell him how to, they'd give him some tips on how to be a better Jinchuriki. Not a better, but just how to improve on trying to control the Nine Tails, or talking to Jutsu. I mean, plot armor. Just control him better. Him or her. Yeah, and it's not even a gender. It's straight up just the being, the Biju. After that 1 month of training, Naruto would then head back growing quite like a few inches, like 3 inches, and he'd be way stronger. They would then head back, and they would sleep for the night after their long journey, and Naruto would wake up and basically get ready for his first day. Kakashi would say that he's gonna do some missions, but he's actually lying. He's gonna be their joining sensei, and Naruto would say, bye. Naruto would then head out before heading towards the academy, and he would then walk in. And he'd wave at Sasuke and the other classmates, and I guess they'd be like, wave. He would wave back, and not Kakashi, Naruto then sit down and basically, like he would sit at a different desk. Basically, Sakura basically do their fangirl shit, but Naruto would just body flicker to the seat. But in this time, they wouldn't really say anything since Naruto is the strongest and they don't want to mess with him. After this, Iruka would walk in, giving them, basically telling them about their team placements, and he would tell them like Team 7 is Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Team 8 is Kira. Team 8 is Hinata, Shino, Kiba. Team 10 is Asuma, Choji, and Shiko, Cho. Yeah. After that, every like Asuma and Kira would get their teams, like collect their teams, and head to whatever, I guess assessment or test they're gonna do, and they would wait for the next 4 hours. And Naruto would be like a little suspicious because the only person who's that late is Kakashi, and he would then realize that Kakashi is actually gonna be their sensei, but Kakashi can't actually show favoritism towards Naruto. He has to be equal to everyone, but he gets to overlook Naruto's training, so that's, I guess, a little perk to being his sensei. So basically, Kakashi would walk in and say, "You guys are all boring," before telling them to head upstairs to the roof. Naruto would sword drop, thinking this is the classic classic thing that Kakashi would do. Kakashi would, after seeing them come up to the roof with Naruto just body flickering and Sasuke and Sakura walking up the stairs, he would then explain to them about what they're doing today and what their goal is. Not their goal, but just telling them, introduce yourself. Sakura would say, "Can you give us an example?" Kakashi would say, "My name's Kakashi Hatsuke. My likes, none of your concern. My dislikes, none of your concern. My goals, I don't really have one." And he would then tell them, "Now it's your turn." Sakura would go around about her fangirl shit. Sasuke would go on his emo shit, and Naruto would say he wants to be Hokage, just like in canon. After this, Naruto would then basically Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would hear Kakashi say that they have a assessment test tomorrow, a bell test, or just a test, and he told them to meet him at Training Ground 7 at around 8 a.m. They would nod, and Kakashi would turn into smoke. Naruto would basically head back, and Kakashi, since he actually lives with Naruto, would actually say, no eating, since Naruto literally knows the trick and the bell test, since he literally does this at least every year with Kakashi, and that he's gonna actually do the trick basically. After this, Naruto would basically wake up the next day being hungry, but he couldn't eat. He would then head towards the Training Ground 7 and basically wait for Kakashi for the next 4 hours, basically reading a book about the swordsmanship book he got from the Mist Village. He actually got it from a guy named Zabuza Mamochi, who was confused who the guy was until he looked at the bingo book and realized this guy was one of the 7 swordsmen of the Mist. And he'd be like, whoa, being respected by that person there, that's pretty cool. After this, Naruto would straight up just read the book that Zabuza gave him, and it would teach him a lot about swordsmanship. Before around 4 hours later, Kakashi would then walk into the field and explain to them about the bell test. Before they would say start, Kakashi would then unsheath, not Kakashi, Naruto then unsheathed his blade, and Kakashi, knowing that he has to try a little harder, will raise his headband and show his Sharingan. Sasuke would be a little mad for where he's watching from, and basically come out being trying a little harder in this timeline, since number one, this guy has the Sharingan. Only Uchihas have Sharingan. Sakura then come out, and this is where I'll be leaving off part one of what if Kakashi adopted Naruto. Now I'll actually do part two probably tomorrow, and I'll actually have like a what if premiering in like 34 minutes. It's the what if Midoriya is hacker. So yeah, I'll definitely have this premiere like soon, like around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, with that pretty much being it, this is where I'll be leaving off part one of what if Kakashi adopted Naruto. I know I technically already said that, but other than that, peace.